Hi, Brother Teacher here. I want to speak with you, hopefully briefly, on the habit of losing weight. It's not the habit of losing weight, actually. It's about your habits, people's habits, when it comes to losing weight or weight loss. There are some habits that we have embraced for all or most of our lives that are not indicative of those things that are good for us. There's some things that we must understand. We must overstand these principles. First of all, fat is not an enemy. Never has been, and it never will be when it concerns human existence. God gave us fat for a reason, as energy when it's much needed. But we have to keep things in perspective. It is when we become overly heavy, we have excess fat on our bodies, and even when we become extremely overweight or obese, it's even a worse problem. So that can lead to all kinds of complications: diabetes, joint issues, heart problems, gastrointestinal issues, and so on. So again, let's address the fact that we do need fat. Let's also understand that there's more than one type of fat in the human body. There is two that I want to mention here. One is subcutaneous fat. That's the fat that's directly under the skin. And more prominently, you'll see this in the belly area of most of us when we gain excess weight. That's subcutaneous fat. Then there's the fat that's housed on and around your organs, our organs. That is visceral fat. That's when fat gets to be ugly. So what we really need to understand also is that food is important for the existence of us human beings. I'm speaking in respect of us human beings right now. It's very important that we have food if we're going to live. And not only live, but live a healthy and meaningful life. So where we have lost our sight is that we don't even know what real food is. And everything that you can ingest, chew, and swallow is not necessarily food. As a matter of fact, it's not. Real food is alive like we are. And we must make sure that we consume that which is living for the living. Now, this can be debatable with some individuals. Well, they want to say, well, you can have this and you can have that and so on and so forth. That's food, or I like this. Most people want to cater to their taste, what they like, and what they've traditionally and or have been doing customarily for many, many years of their lives. And they don't want to let it go. But we've come to find out over time, throughout our lives, throughout our years, that the things that we enjoyed at younger ages and as we were getting older were not actually healthy for us. So, food, real food, contains the things that are necessary for life. Real food does. And everything is not real food. You can call it food. So real food contains vitamins, minerals, protein, amino acids, and all of the other minerals and things that we need to sustain this thing that we call our bodies, so that our bodies can function at its optimal level, notwithstanding exercise that goes hand in hand. So it's what we eat and what we physically do in terms of activity. I'm not talking about walking, that's normal. And you must have sleep for your body to repair. Those three things that I mentioned to you. And also your state of mind. That must be intact, no pun intended, but it must be intact as well. Some sort of spiritual foundation to give us a purpose for living as well. So now with that said, there are some things that we must know, and many of us do know it, but we ignore it, don't pay attention to it, don't want to actually delve too deep into the subject of nutrition when we should. One thing about industry, the food manufacturing industry, the Food and Drug Administration, and our governments, is that they don't have our best interest at heart when it comes to health. They'll charge us money for medical help, medical coverage, and for buying prescriptions to calm us down when we have things like inflammation, headaches, back pain, stomach aches, and so forth. They have those little, they're not remedies, but those band-aids for those things. But a lot of these things would not exist if we took better care of our health as it relates to the foods that we put in our bodies. So now, here we go, teacher. What is food, teacher? First thing I said early on in this video, I said we are living. We should be consuming, ingesting things that grow from the earth. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, legumes, lentils, and so forth. And even for those people who choose to eat meat, fish, chicken, or any other poultry, beef, lamb, and for those who eat pork. I don't eat pork myself personally any longer. But things that are alive that will provide those elements that I mentioned early on in this video. Now here is where the rubber meets the road. When food manufacturers, note that I said manufactured, you cannot manufacture food for one thing, you must understand this. But we do have food manufacturers. Because we no longer live on the land as a large conglomerative, if you will, of people, a large body of people across the planet, we have moved into cities. And we have to be fed by the millions of people. So they created what is called grocery stores, markets, to feed the masses of people. So what typically would have lasted a couple days living in the wilderness from what we grew from the land, if you will, that would have wasted or spoiled in 2 or 3 days. So in order to feed the masses of people, these grocery store chains start manufacturing food with preservatives to keep them on the shelves longer so they can make a profit and sell them. I think you already know that, right? We can get into the dyes and the colors, the emulsifiers, the artificial flavors and enhancers, and this kind of stuff later. I've done many videos on that. But I think you get the point or the gist of what I'm saying. That's not real food. If food have to sit on the shelf for months and years, even some canned goods as well, that's not real food. It's been adulterated. It's been taken from its original nature, and it's been changed or modified, and even denatured, if you will. So, real food must contain those things that I said earlier, your vitamins, minerals, and proteins, and so on and so forth. That's real food. Anything that has chemicals in it to keep it longer on the shelves is not food any longer. It's what we call food stuff, or a food substance. It contains some parts of food, but the rest of it is artificial. I think you know that by now. So, let me quickly go forward here. What are the habits that we have developed over time that we need to stop doing if we want to lose weight? I just gave you a bunch of things to think about as far as your health is concerned. I hope you take that to heart. But let me tell you about the weight and about your health as it relates to how you eat from day to day. We have what is called a circadian rhythm. That rhythm comes with every living thing. It has a time clock, and it has certain functions that happen within that time clock. So, for example, did you not know, originally when farmers were planting or sowing, yes, they woke up, the farmers did, when the sun came up. Who else woke up? Nature woke up. Much of nature woke up. The animals began to frolic, the birds began to sing and fly and go and search for food for their young. Everything woke up, it became alive. In a sense that it was time to do something when the sun came up. That's called circadian rhythm. And the farmer worked all day. He and his children, his sons, and even his wife, he had a wife, until the end of the day when the sun was setting. So did the farmer. He began to go to sleep as well. That's circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is the rhythm of nature. It is how your body knows when to be awake in the morning and when it's time for it to lay itself down and rest, repair, be rejuvenated for the next day. That's circadian rhythm. Just a rough example. So now, what are you saying again, brother teacher? I'm saying this. We should eat before the sun goes down in the evening, not late at night when there's food in your stomach or when you wake up in the morning. There's not supposed to be food in your stomach in the morning. You're supposed to eat in the daytime and be active in the daytime so that that food can metabolize in your body and it can assimilate and be used by your body as you're going throughout the day. And in the evening, you go to sleep, where your body is being repaired, your body is recovering from the day's journey or activities, and your cells are being rebuilt, old cells are dying off, and so forth, and your mind is going to be renewed the next morning when you wake up. And then you relieve yourself. Normally, the first thing in the morning, you go to the bathroom and eliminate that which you put in your body the day before, and you're ready for another day. Another thing that you should not do is drink. Another thing that we should not do is drink a lot of fluid, water, wine, pop, tea, Kool-Aid, or whatever drinks or beverages as we're eating our main meals during the day, because you have in your stomach a digestive acid or fluid called hydrochloric acid and pepsin. The sole purpose is to break down or continue to break down the food that you chewed and swallowed. So you can dilute that fluid, that digestive fluid that is, in your stomach where it won't break down your food properly during the digestive process when you drink beverages. The beverages, that's a true statement. The beverages are going to dilute the juice, and it's going to be less effective or ineffective, period. So you don't want to do that, and then it's going to render your food in a condition where you won't receive the nutrients or the proper nutrition from that food that you've already ingested, because it's not going to break down completely. So you can't drink a lot of fluid when you are eating at the same time, even though traditionally, customarily, I guess you can say, we've done it for so many years, because it's just only custom or tradition to sit down at the table to eat dinner and have a beverage right there. We've done it for so long, but the thing is, just because we've done something all or most of our lives does not mean that we were actually doing the right thing. We find out sometimes in latter years the harm that we have done to ourselves, to our bodies even. So you can't also combine a lot of foods together, because it takes longer for the food to break down when you combine certain foods together. For example, you cannot eat apple pie, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, and eat your major food or entree at the same time, because it's not the same thing. You cannot eat fruit, watermelon, cantaloupe, peaches, apples, and oranges, and then eat steak and potatoes at the same time, because it's going to stay in your stomach longer, because it's not the same food. If you're going to eat your fruit, you should eat your fruit alone, because it's primarily water, and it's going to stay in your stomach longer when you add other types of foods and carbs to it. So that's just not the way to go. So my suggestion for you is this: if you're going to eat, make sure, let me back up here. If you're going to drink water, let's get back to the water or the fluids. If you're going to drink a beverage or a fluid, do it at least a half an hour to 45 minutes before you eat your major dinner and or entree. Or you can eat first and take a few sips of a drink or a beverage, and when you're done eating, wait about a good half an hour to an hour before you start drinking your beverage. End the conversation there. So as I was saying about the combining of the foods that should not be combined, again, they stay in your stomach longer, and it's easier for you to digest vegetation or vegetables, if you will. Eat your vegetables, your beans, your legumes, and so forth together, and then eat your meat separate. This may not sound kosher to some people, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you about the way your body works for the most part. And excuse me if I don't have the tapestry and the atmosphere that might be appealing to people, the aesthetics, if you will. People are looking like, oh, he doesn't have the most swankiest office. You should see my office at home. It is, but it's not important. What's more important is the message that I'm conveying to you, and that you receive that. That's it, and that's all. I hope this was of some benefit to you, and if it was, let me know in the comment section below. And please also, if you have any questions that you would like me to address as it relates to health and wellness, please do that as well. And we'll see you in the next video. Until then, may Yahweh bless and keep you. So long.